Social media obviously plays a huge part in getting creative work to the world.
Yeah.
And Aussiebum does it really well. You guys have got a YouTube channel, Facebook, Twitter.
Foursquare.
Foursquare.
I got my own blog. It's
Any way you can talk, you're talking.
because didn't have any money, bring it back.
And also Modular use social media really well as well. You've got quite an amazing Twitter stream. I think it's Modular People, your tweet stream, and your iPhone app for the presets. So can you tell me a little bit about how social media has helped to get the word out? Or clever ways of getting the word out, because we know it works. How do you capitalise on it?
I think the first, or from my opinion, and also Claire's, the biggest challenge has been getting people to realise that marketing media, it's all changing, and there's so many people that are holding on to what they understand, and they're becoming redundant faster and faster. The best way I can explain social media was when I was in New York recently, and Times magazine, to me it was like, wow. And front cover was Facebook about the privatisation, personal details. And then that evening, on NBC, one of the major news channels, said, we're going to speak to the journalist who wrote this article. And I don't know why, but I thought this journalist should be at least 45, near my age. And he was bloody 22 or something. And at first I was like, you're joking me. And then I kind of got it. Welcome to the new world. Welcome to the new way of thinking. And social media, it's a wanky word, but really, look at Australia and England, and you had to learn how to hold your glass, and you had to learn how to use the right utensils. Well, today, the now generation couldn't give a rat's ass about that. They care about their environment, their future, but they also care about the substance, and that, I think, is what social media is.
So how do you guys leverage social media because it's an interesting thing that as a brand and as a business, you have to put so much time into connecting emotionally with your audience without them actually buying anything from you.
Well, I guess for us, it's just so important to have the peer-to-peer recommendation. I mean, you touched on it earlier when we were talking about word of mouth, and that for us is super important. I guess for us, in a sense, MySpace is still more relevant than a lot of other businesses, just because it is so heavily about the music. And it was a breakthrough for the music industry because I guess it was such a badge of honour what music you would put on your MySpace page originally. And that translated over to the fact that then bands would be breaking their own music through there. And obviously it's a huge source of A&R for people around the world in discovering new artists too. But I mean, Facebook and Twitter and all the other platforms that are out there are equally important for us, just in that sense of the fact that everyone is always telling everyone else what they're doing at that exact moment. So instead of having to go around to your friend's place to listen to their LP, you'll get it immediately on your phone that they're listening to a new record by so-and-so, and there's kind of that impetus then for you to go out and check it out yourself.
So I just wanted to ask you as well about all of you, about the advantages and also the challenges of being based in Australia when you're trying to reach an international audience. So Rob, have you got anything to say about that?
Yeah, look, I mean, I've spoken about Cannes, but the other thing that I didn't mention is that a lot of the great work from around the world, we've done very well at exporting our people. And so what some of you may or may not realise is that a lot of the hot creative directors in a marketing sense, David Droger, Andy Fackrell at 180 Amsterdam, are Australian guys. So we've got this thing going where a lot of the people doing the best work around the world in the context of this social media-driven idea creation thing are Australian people. Now, I've got some theories on why I think we're hot creatively, particularly in a global perspective. One of them is that we are the most multicultural country in the world, I think second only to Israel. And that means, for those of you that may or may not understand this, that when you grow up in houses, when there's a lot of houses like this in Australia, I think 51% of the population are from somewhere other than Australia originating, then you're not really watching television for the language, you're watching television for the emotional basis. So what happens is you learn in Australia how to base your communications on essential human truths. So for example, when we did the Great Wall of China ad, what was immediately apparent about that is there isn't anyone in the world who doesn't want their kid not to be the dunce at school. So when you look at that dad and that kid in the car and the kid says, "Dad, why did they build the Great Wall of China?" and he makes up that answer, well, that was because Emperor Nazi goring too many rabbits, keep the rabbits out. Everybody, anywhere in the world goes, totally get it, because we all bullshit to our kids and none of us want our kids to do badly. And it sort of gets you right here. So it's a universal insight. What you learn in a multicultural society is how to communicate through universal insights. We all cry when we're sad, we all laugh when we're happy, we all miss our kids, we don't want our kids to be the dummy at school, we all miss where we come from. So we have learned how to communicate, I think, in a global way that doesn't require languaging. And that's an important factor. The other thing is our attitude, which is we don't give a fuck what anyone else thinks. I think Australia is really good at coming from fuck the rest of the world. We're going to come and get you. And I think that's inherent in our culture because we have come from a smaller population base and there's desperation to prove ourselves, as we were touching on earlier, to the bigger countries. It means we just kind of try a little harder and we worry less about the risk, about how we're going to look if we get it wrong. So it creates an environment where we're prepared to take a chance, step out, give it a go. Fuck New York City, you know, these guys, they're out there taking on the planet and having a great time doing it, and it applies, I think, to everybody. It's inherent in our culture. That's my theory.
Well, I mean, that's an interesting point because I was going to ask, Sean's had the experience that Australia is actually quite a conservative country compared to, or the people who are making decisions think that we're quite a conservative country. Can you tell us a bit about that?
I think one of the strange things when we're brought up in a country like Australia and we learn about the rest of the world at school or encyclopedia or the internet now, and we are somewhat cocooned in what our past generations, what they think of the Germans, what they think of this, think of that. And we're famous also for that tall poppy syndrome. And it's a reality as well. And it's a true reality because we're a very small nation. And we all want to have the biggest house. Like, go to Melbourne. Everyone's got the best house. I'm so jealous. The carpet, plastic,
Melbourne,
it's
no.
all going on.
Don't go to Melbourne.
But no, but it is the reality as well, is that we're a very conservative country, and what is difficult, I think, especially in an emerging, call it the industrial age again, the youth of today need not be conservative, not fear rejection, not fear staff going, oh my God, what's he going to say next? But simply because that's what it takes to be part of the global world. And we are part of the global economy, whether we like it or not. And we need to start behaving more like one, so then our youth of today don't just think about travelling to Sydney to get, you know, the best job. They can think about travelling anywhere. And wow.
I agree. I mean, I think one of the things that stood out when we started the advertising agency is there's three of us, three partners, and we're still working together and still really loving it, is the amount of people, in fact, everybody who tells you no, right? Everybody's advice, who were people more experienced than us, were, nah, it's never going to work. Rob, he's going to argue with you. Paul, you're a nong, you couldn't possibly do it. You don't have enough experience. You haven't got this, you haven't got that. I mean, Christ, we just heard no. It was a blanket wall of no. Eventually I worked out that the reason that was going on is that if we went out and did it, then they were going to feel bad because they haven't. So they were all kind of trying to advise us to hold it off, do it later, do it when you're older. When you need more experience, you go, but I'm 28, I'm doing it now. Otherwise, then I'm going to care about being worried about taking the risk. I wouldn't take the risk now, but I was happy to do it at 27. I just went, what the fuck, let's go, let's party, let's start an ad agency. If it doesn't work, we'll start another one. And if that doesn't work, we'll start another one after that.
I like the guy.
Until we get it right. You know, so, and even my parents, with sort of working class Italian background,